Did you know that 11 million people globally lose their life to some sepsis-related illnesses annually? Sepsis is the terminology that is used when your immune system goes into overdrive whenever there is an infection. This overdrive that the immune system goes into can be so drastic that it starts attacking your internal organs. In some cases, what it results in is kidney failure, and in some cases, what happens is that the person is left with long-term damages or disability. Unfortunately, in some cases, people lose their life. Now, what is sepsis? What I want to do is to go into more detail as to how you can, what are, like the symptoms of sepsis, what you can do to reduce the likelihood of it happening. In this video, that is what we will be talking about. If this is something that you'll be interested in, what I'm going to suggest is that you stick around. I'll be back shortly after this short commercial break. Hi everyone, thank you for watching this video. I quickly wanted to take you through the contents of my channel just to give you a quick rundown of what you can find on this channel. Now on this channel there are playlists, and I know that the playlist is not, because I know that everybody is not interested in the same topic. So if you scroll down on the channel, you'll see a playlist for Travel UK. There is one for world travel, there's one for health matters, there's one for fitness, there's one for vlogs, there's one for fashion, there's one for topics of interest, where anything that is happening that has caught my interest, then I will bring it to the family. There is also a playlist for relationship, because we understand that we are not all interested in the same thing. So after this video, I want to encourage you to take the time out to scroll down to see if there are any other videos that you're interested in. Once again, I want to say thank you, and let's get back to our regular programming. If you have not yet subscribed as well, please take the time out to subscribe to the channel as well. And welcome back. Now, what is sepsis, you may ask? Okay, so some of us, you would agree that whenever there is an infection, for some of us, we don't take anything. For some of us, we take antibiotics and it disappears. Now, the immune system is what is responsible for helping us to fight off infections. Whenever you have sepsis now is the extreme. So with sepsis, instead of the immune system just fighting off the infection that you have, it goes into overdrive to the extent where it starts attacking your own body as well, the other organs that are internally. Now you may ask, okay, so does it mean that sepsis only is a result of us having an infection? Yes, most likely it is after an infection. However, sometimes you do not even know that you have developed sepsis. So that is why it's going to be very important for you to pay attention to what I am about to say. Now, can sepsis always be prevented? So I'm going to ask some questions and then I'm going to answer them. Can sepsis be prevented? Sepsis prevention is only possible by preventing infections in the first case. So you know that sometimes it is hard for you to prevent infections. Some infections are prevented by vaccination, but of course not all of us, not for everything, we are going to get vaccinated. So to prevent infection, what we have to do in the first place is to practice be consistent with our hygiene, and also to avoid people with infections. Okay, so who is most at risk of developing sepsis? Anyone can develop sepsis. However, The people who are most at risk are infants, children, older adults, and people who have underlying medical problems such as diabetes, cancer, or liver disease. So why are they counting on, why have they said those people? However, as well, I should say that most times if you have undergone some surgery, then you know that you are at higher risk of developing an infection as well. So in the first case, the immune system is what is responsible for fighting off infections. If you have an underlying medical condition, sometimes you are more at risk. In some cases, the immune system is weakened, and as a result of that, when there is an infection, it makes it harder for the immune system to actually fight it off. It is important to know though, so if you ask, can you stop sepsis early? It is good to know that sepsis is treatable if it is identified quickly. Now, what are the symptoms of sepsis? Because that is what is going to actually help for you to know whether or not you have developed, whether it has passed the infection stage that you think you may have had to when it has gotten serious, or when it has gone past infection and going to the sepsis stage. The symptoms of sepsis include loss of consciousness, and I'm just reading them, severe breathlessness, a high temperature, slurred speech, nausea and vomiting, diarrhea, and severe muscle pain. So it's very important that if you realize that your infection is not going away, it's worth checking it out. And I know that for some of us, as soon as we know that we have an infection, we start taking antibiotics. So that is going to be very important as well. Another question, can your body fight sepsis on its own? If an infection does occur, your immune system will try to fight it. So that's the first thing. Your immune system will always try to fight off any infection. Although you may need help with medication such as antibiotics. However, for reasons researchers don't understand, sometimes the immune system stops fighting the invaders, which is the infection, and instead begins to turn on itself. So it's very important to know that medical experts, researchers, they do not know why the immune system turns on itself, turns on the other body organs and tissues, but just to know that it can happen. So what are the triggers of sepsis? Bacterial, simply put, bacterial infections can cause most sepsis. Sepsis can also be the result of other infections, including viral infections such as influenza or fungal infections. Most people who develop sepsis have at least one underlying medical condition such as chronic lung disease or a weakened immune system. So it's going to be very important for you to know about the symptoms, understand sepsis a little more. So in this video, the intention is for you to start the research process so that you can understand, so that you are able to detect when it's not just a simple infection and when it is probably a case of sepsis. Another question, how long does it take for an infection to turn into sepsis? I know that that is something that all of us would be interested in. So it says that sepsis can develop quickly from initial infection and progress to septic shock in as little as 12 to 24 hours. You may have an infection that is not improving, or you could even be sick without realizing. So that is why the symptoms is what is going to be very important. And I am going to repeat the symptoms at the end of this video. Wise choices. How can you reduce the likelihood of getting sepsis? And I've said it before, but I want to repeat it. 1. Prevent infections. Take good care of chronic conditions. If you know that someone has an infection, you're going to try to stay away from that person. 2. Practice good hygiene. Wash your hands. And another important one is to know the symptoms, and finally act fast. So once you start developing the symptoms, you are not going to wait around, you are going to take action. So what are the symptoms of sepsis? And I'm going back to them. Loss of consciousness, severe breathlessness, a high temperature, slurred speech, nausea and vomiting, diarrhea, and severe muscle pain. So you're not going to wait around. If it develops, if you start experiencing these symptoms, you are going to try to get medical help as soon as possible. What is the survival rate of sepsis? Now, sepsis does not have to be fatal. At the moment, there is a 30 to 40% mortality rate. However, the resulting of small clots or burst blood vessels may damage or destroy tissues. So with sepsis, these are some of the things that will happen. There will be small clots or burst blood vessels, and these can damage the tissues. Most people, which is very good to know, that most people recover from mild sepsis. So the good thing is to prevent and to act as early as possible. My Destiny family, I hope that this video will sort of, inspire you a bit, encourage you to do more research and to get familiar with what is happening. Because at the moment, sepsis is described as the silent killer, right? And like I've said, 11 million people die annually from sepsis. So the most that we can do is to learn more about it and know how to reduce the likelihood of it happening to us. Especially if your loved one, or if you have like a chronic illness, or if someone has just had a surgery, then you have to look out for all these symptoms as well. Thank you for watching this video, my Destiny family. And of course, watch my other videos as well. Thank you for subscribing. And until I upload another video, my Destiny family, I say peace.